Chevy Chase, comic legend, original SNL star, and possibly the most complicated funny man of all time.
This new documentary is funny, uncomfortable, brutally honest, and somehow exactly what you'd expect from Chevy Chase.
So buckle up, because I'm Chevy Chase and you're not isn't a redemption arc, it's a reckoning.
So grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's go back. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Gen X Unfiltered, the podcast.
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Steve, Eric, how are you?
Good, how are you? My headphones are acting up on me.
Yeah, I know. You're all I literally was like, are we ready to go? And you're like, yep. And as soon as I opened my mouth, you started fidgeting.
Well, because as soon as you started going, there we go, my headphones cut out like immediately. There we go.
The timing was perfect.
Yeah, no, it's like really right off the bat. And it makes a huge difference with having headphones, like, because
it's
everything's
awful.
so hollow. It's weird.
It's hard.
The one time I had to do it with the headphones because they were driving me crazy, it was very weird.
It definitely is. It was just because everything sounds so hollow. Like, they really do. Like, these are not even that great of headphones, but they really do like block out the noise, so everything just sounds really hollow and it sounds weird.
So before we get into today's topic, I feel like we need to do a little check-in since it's the January Blahs. For those of you who don't know, we are in Canada, which, I mean, whatever. Lots of places have the January Blahs, but it's just dark, dreary. That's why I'm wearing like a fluorescent colored shirt.
That's why Eric and I are dressed so colorful as well. We're all cheery.
It's true. My clothing matches my mood.
That's
I thought I would bring some brightness to this dreariness.
Some
but
levity.
You know what? I was saying to these guys before we started, I'm like, what is it with January that no matter what, like you just feel dull? Like physically, like everything's just dull. Like if I put this outfit on, I mean, I wouldn't, it's fleece, but in like July, I'd feel so alive and full of life. And now I just feel like it's like lipstick on a pig.
I mean, we've been inside now, pretty much every day, all day for the last 6-7 weeks. It's been a busy Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, it's
so you're just kind of coming off that, nonstop for 3 weeks to it just end. January 1, it's just like
the go. It's just a harsh stop.
Yeah.
Well, there's also just no sun.
Well, there's no sun. It's weird weather. It's been cold. We've kind of been all over the place. It's been plus 10, minus 15, snow, rain, ice.
Seasonal depression is a real thing. So, if you guys feel it, trust, we feel it too. So let's get through January and brighter days are coming.
Well, it's a good thing to do when these close winter nights. Watch a good documentary.
That's right, Steve. What are we watching today?
That's right. Well, what we watched.
Talking about today.
Yes, we were talking about the new, very much, actually, I was surprised how much I've seen about this online, is the new Chevy Chase documentary. I'm Chevy Chase and you're not.
But it was impossible to find.
Well, because it's on CBC. It's on CNN,
yes.
Which is kind of unusual. Mm-hmm. Usually these would be like a Netflix or Prime or something like that. Yeah,
one of the major streamers usually.
Yeah, but no, this is all on CNN. So trying to find it was a little bit hard. So we were going to do this last week, but then we couldn't find it. And then, of course, like the day later, we're like, oh, we won't shoot. We'll scrap it. Hey, there it is. We can watch it.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
That's about right. Before you get into it, Steve, because he has all the notity notes and he's going to run us through it all. Can I ask you guys a question, though, first? You know what? I love my random questions.
Yeah, go for it.
They all clench their butts. Like,
well,
what
I'm
is
so
the
clenched
question?
right now. I'm sweating. What is it? What do you want?
Just like a yes or no. I think that makes it more interesting because then we can dive into it more later. But did your opinion, whatever your opinion was, did your opinion change before the documentary and to after watching of Chevy Chase? Did it change? Just one word, yes or no?
No.
Eric?
Not really, no.
No.
What about you?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I kind of had, I've seen a ton of Chevy Chase movies and stuff, so I haven't heard stories and this and that, so I kind of had a preconceived notion of what he was like, and it just kind of...
If anything, it cemented it.
I'm more solidified that he is kind of the way I thought he was. And
yeah, exactly.
Because you always wonder, like, is this just like gossip and rumors, and like he had one bad day, so now it's like his reputation.
It blew up.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, wow, okay, so all those things and I'm not like a Chevy Chase biographer. I don't know anything about him other than the movies he's been in.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this? And I was like, no, okay, it's.
But you know
accurate.
more now after watching the documentaries. You can create a more fully informed opinion.
Look, Eric, it's been a week. I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast today. So
oh boy,
that's why Steve's in charge of the notes today. He's going to run us through and probably trigger my memory on some things.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so hopefully this is pretty good. So I'm just kind of going to go through. Let's how should we do this? So this is kind of more, the way the notes are structured, sort of more based on his life, not necessarily the documentary.
But I
because
think
the documentary
that's important.
kind of bounced around a little bit.
Yeah, but I think we need to know a little bit of his life because that explains a lot about,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So let's go. Some of the key details for his early life and psychological foundation, which sort of is that it kind of came up later in the documentary, some of the stuff, which is sort of weird.
It was a really, like, for my brain at least, the documentary was very, like, jumpy. And it
Yeah, that's what I'm
confused me
saying.
a
Is
little
that
bit.
like
It wasn't chronological. at all.
No.
it was sort of, but not really. And then it would kind of go back to it's like, oh wait, that
Yeah.
makes sense now and explains
And
this
my
and that.
brain
but
doesn't like that. Why don't you just start with the basics? Who's
that's
Chevy Chase?
what I was going to say. Let me just get right into it. So
Okay.
Chevy Chase, born October 8th, 1943.
He's a lot older than I thought. 43.
Yeah, no, he's no spring chicken. He's definitely like like
not a youngin'.
looking his age, and you can tell he's had some health issues in the last few years, and you can see it's you can see and hear like it's definitely taking its toll on him. That he's not
totally.
not getting any younger. Born 1943, described his childhood marked by physical abuse from his mother and stepfather, which came into play. Like I said, it was weird. That didn't really come up because it kind of started out like, oh, he's had a good childhood and going to university and kind of getting into like
Yeah.
the groundlings and Second City and all this stuff, and like it kind of focused on that. And then it kind of went back to like, oh wait, but then it was about sort of the mother, and it sounded like the way he talked, she had some mental health issues and
Yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that. So it kind of came back to that later, but
Yeah.
didn't really touch on that at first.
I mean, like like I don't say this callously, but like it's not shocking that he had a traumatic childhood based
Oh
on.
no.
No.
Like I had no idea that his parents were divorced and whatnot from back in the day. Like
No,
all
and
that plays into who he
Well,
becomes.
exactly. He kind of basically exactly said that he sort of figured that this connects directly to his defensive humor, his need to dominate conversations, and I think this is a big thing, his hypersensitivity to perceived disrespect.
He's having trouble.
Apparently, I just feel kind of staring at when I'm reading
I
this.
literally wasn't even roll the tape back. I was reading my notes. I wasn't even looking at him.
Family members confirm his brilliance and emotional volatility, and you can definitely see. I think he is thin-skinned.
Can I say
I think
something?
so, which is really interesting. Maybe this will come up later, but I think it's really interesting that he's thin-skinned considering he did a roast, right?
That's what I was thinking too. Like he did that
Yeah.
roast in the early 2000s when they kind of
Yeah.
had that resurgence there. Yeah.
Can I just say something though? And again, I am not saying this in an insensitive or callous or uncaring way. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. We all are. But when, and this can be rhetorical until later, but like when does it become cool? Like super crappy. You had a horrible childhood, right? Like no, that's not fair. You're a child, right? But obviously you're shaped by traumas from that as you get older. But when does the responsibility become like can you stop using that as an excuse to just be an asshole?
Yeah. No, I
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I totally. And I
Like
think
I get it. And who knows? Maybe he's been in therapy. Maybe he's done a whole bunch. I don't know. Like maybe he's just sort of saying, no, this is just what it is. But like at a certain point, like to say like, yeah, that's why I am defensive. That's why I have to dominate conversations. That's cool that you have the self-awareness, but also like when like is the responsibility of you to like maybe work towards not being that way.
It's a weird thing, right? Because you're always responsible for your actions.
Yes.
Always, right? Like you can't like say, oh, I did an awful thing, but I had a bad childhood, so that makes
There's
up for it.
explanations for why you do things.
Exactly. You can understand where that person comes from, I guess, to a certain degree, but that doesn't take away from what they did.
And I feel like overall, like again, this is just why I'm getting this out now while I forget, but overall, I felt like me personally that the whole entire documentary and his interview parts of this, he was just kind of like, without saying it, being like, yeah, it's okay that I'm an asshole because all this bad stuff happened to me. It's just who I am.
yeah, that's a lot
And
of people
it's
do
like,
that. It's just this is
they
just me,
do.
and it's like
And
yeah.
it's like, but that's cool. But like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to offend anybody but like, I mean, and I don't know what personal help he's done or
Well,
growth he's done. I
that-
have no idea. Self-awareness is super important, but also like, yeah, like just, do you want to be a dick? Like, I wouldn't want to be known as a dick.
No, well,
No.
that's the thing. You think, if you start hearing this reputation about yourself, you'd
Yeah.
be like, oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my
No, and that's so
derailment.
one of his quotes was that if you make people laugh first, they can't hit you, right? So that was his.
Fair.
And even his wife said the same thing. He learned early that humor was armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can definitely see it in this documentary. Like he definitely always seemed to have sort of keep people at the sort of arm's length.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Even when they first, and we get into, I think that comes up later on, but like when he first sits down,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of just
and he's
irritated
kind of
me.
basically like,
Well, we'll talk about it.
they want to figure him out. You can tell he's just kind of instantly like, no.
Very defensive.
And even some of the answers he gives, it's like, you can tell he's just trying to deflect or just.
He says a lot of words without really saying anything sometimes.
Yeah. Because that clip's come up everywhere, right? Where the interviewer is sitting on the interview for the first time.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm just trying to get to know who you are better. And his response was, no shit. Just like a real kind of sarcastic, like nasty response, right?
Just a weird.
And then he follows up with that by saying like, you're not smart enough.
Yeah, you're not that bright.
You're not that bright, exactly, to figure me out.
Yeah.
I'm just dying. It doesn't matter, but I'm just dying of laughter inside my head because like literally Steve was like, oh yeah, and that comes up a little bit later in the script.
I didn't want to cut Eric off.
Eric just literally read the whole thing.
Whoops.
It's okay. You're doing this. Kelly's doing the same thing here.
I know I am. I'm sorry. It's hard because my problem is I have things in my brain. I don't want to forget them. So everybody who thinks I talk too fast and interrupt, I really don't mean to interrupt. I just have things in my brain and I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. But I'm trying very hard not to do that.
But I guess my point was that first scene really sets the stage for the whole documentary.
It does.
And just the way he says no shit. It's like, it's kind of jokey, but
it's
very
not
pointed and like it's just the way he delivers it. It's like
his tone reminded me of him. A line he delivers in one of the National Lampoon movies.
Yeah.
Where he's talking to, it's actually a Christmas Vacation, where he's talking to the girl in the lingerie department.
Oh, he actually says that line, no shit.
Exactly. And I was like, that really reminded me of that, but somehow it was funny in Christmas Vacation. In this interview,
well, the context
it's not funny at all.
Well, no, and that's, I mean, and that's a lot of people sort of say that too, that Chevy plays Chevy, like, the character Clark Griswold, or like even in Caddyshack and stuff like that, they're really him.
Yeah.
He's not really stretching his acting wings too much.
Yeah, exactly.
And, but yeah, and it was interesting here, this whole kind of, the one thing that shocked me the most, and we're going to get into that now, is, so his big break obviously was SNL. The one thing that I still find crazy is that he was there for one season. So basically, October 11th, 1975 is when SNL premiered. Chevy Chase was on it for one season. December 1976, he leaves. So just over a year.
But I think that's why it's so lasting, because he was the premier season.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you guys was, exactly that. Like, the fact that he was there for 1 year, that show just had his 50th anniversary, like, I think it was last year.
Yeah.
Right? It would have been, last year. Like, the fact that he's so tied to that show, and he was there for a season.
But I think, like I just said, I think it's because it was the premiere season and the show has had such popularity for 50 years. So it's not like he was on the first season and the show lasted 3 seasons and it went away. I think that's why.
Well, I'm sure his ego's already big enough, but he was one of the reasons why that show wasn't canceled in the first season, right?
Yeah.
Because the show is kind of like the first of its kind in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And he was the big breakout star, and a lot of his bits were like people tuned in to watch.
Yeah.
Like Weekend Update.
Well, that, I think, and that's really what they talk about, is that Weekend Update is what made the show, that segment. And I mean, it's the one thing that they still do.
Oh, totally.
Like, to this day, like, that was always sort of like the prestige piece of the show.
Yeah.
Whoever hosted, like, you would hear it on the news sometimes back in like the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, like Norm Macdonald is going to be the new SNL Weekend Update
it was
anchor.
a big thing.
Yeah, or this year it's this person. Or I mean, it was, did Tina Fey do it?
Yep.
Yeah, Tina Fey. Like, you would hear like in the news, like, who was the new Weekend Update person.
Yeah, exactly.
So the fact that idea that started in 1975 to this day is still going every Saturday.
And I mean, I think like you have to give credit where credit's due. Like he obviously helped launch that show to what it is today.
Yeah.
I mean, is he responsible for the whole 50 years of success? No. I mean, there's a million people in between. But did he put it on the map? Yeah. And I mean, good for him. And I mean, there's a reason why it's still successful 50 years later. But yeah, you have to give credit where credit's due. But I mean, dude, it was 50 years ago. Let's just can it a little. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like,
and that was a big thing. It was his physical comedy and sarcasm was set the tone for SNL's future. He openly admits leaving SNL was a career miscalculation, though it led to film stardom, and that's a thing.
But do you think why is it a career miscalculation? Because
I think he felt like he could have had more. I think he really enjoyed it too, but I think he thought maybe he could have stayed there longer. Like
it was a good format for his style, right?
But then would he have gone on to do what he did if he had stayed there longer?
No, I mean, because that's the thing too, right? You never know. You get there too long, and it's like all of a sudden that him tripping over the couch again is like
it's like
exactly.
It's like the sliding doors effect, right? What if he had have went through the other door and stayed there for 5 years?
No, I mean you never know for sure, but he figures that he should have stuck around more than one season.
Exactly. It also caused a lot of animosity between him and his former cast members, right?
Well, and that's the
because
thing
they're
too.
Like, we're just getting this thing started. We're a hit, and you're abandoning us.
You're like the face of the show right now, and you're fucking off on us like after a season. Like, what the hell, man? Yeah. Well, even Chevy Chase said, I thought it was bigger than the show. I wasn't.
No.
No. Can I ask a question based on your notes that I'm reading here? Just because I don't know. I just want to ask it. So here there's a note that says, like, you know, ensemble comedy can be brutal on egos. And I think from what we've seen watching a few documentaries on like comedians like John Candy, or I can't even remember who, even like Tom Green or whoever there is who's been on SNL. I can't think off the top of my head. Anywho, but like these like comedian actors, again, a lot of them have had kind of crappy childhoods and they have trauma, and the comedy is how they sort of like deal with it and get attention.
Yeah.
But when you have all those people doing this, like working together, like,
oh yeah,
that must be really hard because they all like feed off of the attention.
Oh, you hear, I mean, and hearing about, you know, reading some books on SNL and hearing that's well, not even, and it's, you've got multiple, and then not even that, you've got the ensemble cast, but you also have writers behind the scenes too, who are also like
it's
comedians.
Because of me, yeah.
But then they're trying to, you know, you've only got an hour of show to fill. So like, you know, you're trying to pick which are the best skits to do, but then who's in those, like, it's a lot.
But then
there's a lot of behind the scenes politics.
Oh God, I can only
it's
imagine.
probably
and
like,
the stress and top of it all trying to write.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw out names. I'm not saying anything about these people because I don't know, but like, it's almost like, you know, excuse me, like Chevy Chase was on SNL. Who was on with him?
Jim Belushi.
Okay, so Jim
Dan
Belushi.
Aykroyd,
okay, so
Bill
say
Murray.
okay, I just but
Gilda
say
Radner.
Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. It's like, you know,
hated each other, but anyways, yeah.
For example, like, you know, Chevy Chase might think the show's successful because of him, but Bill Murray's probably like, no, it's because of me. And Dan Aykroyd might be like, dudes, it's because of me. Like, I can't even imagine the egos going on.
And the thing is, it's successful because of all of them.
Well, of course,
that's the whole thing. That's the hard. It's like, no, all of you. There's, you know.
Well, this reminds me
of like being in a band.
But
right?
I was thinking the same thing.
You know, it's a family, and it's how many bands you see that break up or people go solo. One does amazing, one does nothing. Like they realize, we're bigger than the sum of our parts.
This
how many times does a solo act ever become bigger than the band they were part
Never,
of?
because as much
unless
as you
you're
might
Harry Styles.
Yeah, but that's a different. Those bands don't count. That's a difference. Yeah.
But this reminds me of the conversation I've had with Steve a few times. But like one of the shows that we all like to watch is The Office, and that's a perfect example of a bunch of comedians doing a TV show. And like as the progression goes on, like together they all make the show amazing. But at some point, you could tell they all sort of started wanting their like time to shine.
Yep.
But it wasn't the like Meredith show. It wasn't the Dwight show. It wasn't the. They were only funny together.
Yeah. And that to me is when those shows, and The Office is a perfect example, is that you look at the season like 7, especially after Steve Carell left, which is a huge, like a Chevy Chase, that's a big void to fill. The characters that were funny in small doses, they start to try and make them main players, and it throws off the overall dynamics of it.
They're only funny in small doses.
Yeah, it just throws off the rhythm and the flow of the show. It's
exactly.
But yeah, no, and I think yes, I can't remember what we sort of went all over the place there.
No, sorry, we were just talking about the bottom here. I was just.
Yeah, but no, and I think that like anything, there's egos and all this stuff involved, and that's and that's where Lorne Michaels' job is to try and, God bless him, but that's his job is to try and that's a quote right here. Chevy wanted to be special. The problem is everyone there was.
So what did Chevy Chase? Because I can't remember, but so he left SNL in 1976, and then what did he do?
Movies.
Okay, well I know. Okay, sorry, let me rephrase that.
If we
What
go to the
movie did he do?
Foul Play.
That's a pretty good segue right there.
I was trying to segue you. See, this is like, it says it right there. I'm like, no, I'm trying to segue you.
Well, I didn't pick it up. But yeah, no, Foul Play.
Oh my God, I love how like just we try and be professional. We're just not. It's fine. It is what it is.
No.
It's fine. It's what it is.
I love it though. It's my favorite.
Yeah. All right.
So Foul Play 1978.
Yeah, Foul Play, and which I have never seen.
Was it successful?
I think I don't remember now.
I wasn't alive.
Yeah, if I'm trying to remember from the movie they talked about, I think it did okay, but I can't really remember. Do you guys?
Was that was Foul Play the one with Goldie Hawn?
Yes.
Or was that Modern Problems? Because there's a couple he did.
Yeah, he did. They had a few they were talking about there. Yeah,
I remember watching the documentary, and there's kind of like the Chevy Chase's early movies, like Modern Problems, Foul Play.
Yeah,
it sounds like they're like successful.
They were okay. Yeah,
they're okay. But then he really wants like Caddyshack.
Caddyshack is the one that's like
stratosphere. He's in the next level of
that was
why? Because that movie's a hot pile of steaming dog poop.
Did you watch the documentary? I was like, yes, this documentary is bang on here.
Yeah,
it mentions Caddyshack as one of the best comedies of all time.
Caddyshack is fantastic.
Clearly, I don't enjoy the same kind of comedy because I just don't think it's funny.
Yeah, like it's which funny thing is it's got Bill Murray in there too and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you've got a few of these guys from
the core SNL guys.
Core SNL guys, yeah, but yeah, Caddyshack is fantastic. Wait, was Dan Aykroyd in Caddyshack or Caddyshack 2?
Caddyshack 2.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, yeah.
Okay.
Not such a good.
So, I mean, 1976. That's 40. So, I mean, he had like it didn't take many years after SNL to kind of like prove himself as a movie star.
No, well, right off the bat, he was doing like he said with the Goldie Hawn, like he was doing. But Caddyshack was in those ones, the ones that really like that next. You know, like you see movies, it's that next level of like superstardom.
Yeah, exactly. Because Goldie Hawn was already like a named commodity at the time.
Yeah,
and
Chevy
he got
Chase
himself
is like
into a Goldie Hawn movie right off the bat.
Yeah, like his that's the thing right off the bat. I mean, you know, it's only a couple years then, and you know, so he was always just kind of around, and you know, he didn't kind of disappear right after he kind of kept going up that ladder of success or whatever.
Can I ask another question? Because I don't remember much about this. Again, it's been a week, but it says here in the notes that there was long-standing feuds like Bill Murray and others. So what was those like kind of feud? Like Bill was the way you mentioned earlier. I'm assuming Bill Murray was a big one that everybody knew about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did they like just hate each other?
They actually had a fist fight.
They had like a fist fight.
Wait, was this before or after Caddyshack?
This is before.
Before this was on SNL, I think.
And then they went on to be in Caddyshack together?
They did, yeah. So kind of what happened was, so Bill Murray wasn't in season 1 of SNL. Bill Murray So when Bill Murray came on to fill the void of Chevy Chase in season 2 of SNL.
Yeah, that's right.
So there was sort of a rivalry between the two of them because Bill Murray's like, I'm here filling your shoes. And Chevy Chase is like,
you can't fill my shoes.
No one can fill my shoes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ego involved, right? And this is such a messed up story. Jim Belushi was sort of playing puppet master in the background. Chevy Chase came back to SNL to guest host, and Jim Belushi was kind of in both of the ears, kind of saying stuff to Chevy Chase.
Sorry, John or Jim?
Did I say John?
You said Jim, but it's John, right?
John, thank you.
Okay, I just making sure. I'm like, wait.
John Belushi, who's SNL cast member at the time, he was in Chevy Chase's ear, kind of saying like, Bill Murray's saying this stuff about you.
Oh,
over to Bill Murray.
He was that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Chevy Chase is saying this about you, Bill, and so like they're already have their own like feelings with each other, and it's now just getting like it's a boiler room, like it's getting hotter and hotter, right?
And it's also the 80s, so
lots
of drugged
smoking
up.
And snow,
snorting, and
exactly. So
it's sort of a perfect mix of like
So John Belushi and Bill Murray go over to Chevy Chase's change room at SNL, and that's where the whole thing blows up.
Yeah,
they start calling each other names, basically like, you know, you can't fill my shoes, and I think somebody makes a comment about Chevy Chase's wife at the time. Oops. And they get into a fist fight.
This is literally
Bill Murray and Chevy Chase fist fight on SNL.
This is literally like high school girl shit.
Oh, totally.
Oh, just dumb. It's all ego. Like that's really all it is. Like there's no, you know, it's just guys being dudes, just dumb shit.
Exactly. But they bury the hatchet and they work on Caddyshack together.
I just see a quote here by Morton Short. He's very smart. He's very funny. He's very funny. He's also very sure he's the funniest person in the room. The one thing I noticed with the celebrities that were like in this documentary, like with sound bites or whatever, is that they were all like that. They basically what they were saying from my impression was he was a complete and total dick, but he was good at what he did.
Yeah.
Literally, that's like the
other one who like actually was very sweet when she talked about him was Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn had a lot of nice stuff. But
that was also early in his career. So maybe he wasn't as bad.
She actually told a pretty like, you know, nice story about him and stuff.
Oh, with her kid, Oliver.
Oliver. I guess.
Kate.
Was Kate there too?
Yeah, he put the two of them to bed.
Put the two of them to bed.
Because Goldie Hawn was a single mother at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And then he came back down and was sort of like, you know, kind of showed a little bit of empathy. He's like, I don't know how you do this on your own.
Maybe he just wanted to hit it.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it.
Maybe.
But either way,
it's nice. No, I'm just saying.
Take that away from him. His one redeeming quality.
But that was kind of my point. Like, out of all the people who came, celebrities, co-stars came to talk, she was the one person who said nothing bad.
But maybe he wasn't a dick to the females because he didn't feel threatened. Just call me Dr. Kelly.
Whoa,
maybe,
that's a little psychoanalysis.
But then he was a complete jerk to the director, so...
Who's the director, a girl?
Yeah, she's a female, remember? When her talking
but she's also in a position of power. Okay,
yeah, maybe.
I'll keep studying for my doctorate.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think maybe you need to. Yeah.
Maybe a
I
little
was
more work
just
there.
making-
No,
a
no,
funny-
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's nice that she had a good experience with him, and that's amazing because, I mean, I don't believe Chevy Chase is a raging, like, crazy person who doesn't have nice moments. I mean, I think he's narcissistic. That's just his trauma, and that's what happens. So, I mean, I feel like these stories are probably a little far and few between, and it's nice that she was able to tell a really sweet story because, I mean, that was 40 plus years ago and she still remembers it like it was yesterday. So it
Yeah.
obviously was impactful, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it is telling the guy. I mean, the quote from Martin Short, like even his friends,
Yeah.
they
It's
know.
this underlying,
Well, they know
like,
they know what he's like.
Yeah.
he's
you know,
a
and-
dick, but he's good at what he does.
Well, not even that. I'm sure they're probably like, hey, he's like, he's a nice guy, but they
Yeah.
know what he's like, and you
I
just
want-
kind of have to put up with that side of him to.
A lot
know what I
of
mean?
a lot of us said that in the documentary, like if you don't get Chevy's humor,
You're
you
not
hate,
going to
you
like
hate
him.
him.
Yeah.
And that's probably why
Yeah.
I'm just like, ugh. 'Cause
No,
I
and I
just
think
don't
we've
get
all
it.
had that. You meet people
Yeah.
in your life, you can
Yeah.
think of people whether in work or growing up in school.
Like, I
There's
just don't
some
get
people
you.
you just like.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
just don't jive with him, and he's
Yeah.
definitely one of those guys that, and he will be the one to, I think, needle.
Yeah.
If you like it, then great, and if you don't, you're gonna want to pull
Yeah,
up and
exactly.
sock him in the face. He's gonna do that needling regardless
Yeah.
of how if you're laughing about it and
Yeah.
cool, but if you hate it, he's still gonna.
Are we going to talk about the chocolate mousse?
Yeah, hold
story?
on.
I don't want to jump ahead of
Hold
Prometeo.
on. I get to be the one to say, guys, we need to do a camera switch.
Oh.
Ooh, usually they're all like
No.
eyeballing me.
No, I knew it was coming. I was
And I'm
waiting.
like-
thought
I
was
wasn't paying
good.
attention, so
No,
thank
I
you.
was about to stop, but okay.
All right, quick camera swap.
Yeah, we'll be back. All right, we're back. That was a quick little switch of the camera. We're back, and Eric was going to bring
Yeah.
up. We're talking about the chocolate mousse story.
Yeah, so we're talking a lot about how like Chevy Chase is polarizing, right? In his sense of humor, you get him, you like him. If you don't get him, you're gonna think he's a real dick, basically. Yes. Oh, that's your hand up right there.
Yeah, that is.
So basically, like a really good example of this that comes up in the documentary is this. I call it the chocolate mousse story. But basically, they're at this event, like it was a big celebrity event, and there was a waitstaff passing. They were coming with a tray with little glasses of chocolate mousse in them, right?
Oh my god, I thought you were talking about like an actual mousse that was made out
No,
of chocolate.
no. He's
So
telling.
the
Remember
waiter
that.
comes over to Chevy Chase and some of his, I think Martin Short, some other people were there, and says, "Do you want some chocolate mousse?" And Chevy, being Chevy, sticks his finger in one of them, licks it, and says, "No, thank you." Which, depending on what side of the fence you are, you can think, "Ha, look at that, it's hilarious." Like he's kind of,
I'd want to slap him in the face.
some people are like that's super disrespectful.
Well, and that's like the waiter and
The wait
even
staff.
the waiter might be like, "Oh, this is Chevy Chase. It's hilarious." And
yeah,
No.
and the problem is too the way he delivers his line sometimes is that
They're blunt.
it's hard to tell. Like
yeah,
Kind of like Steve.
yeah, but sometimes it's hard to tell. Like it's like, is he being serious or
yeah.
I don't know. I think like there's a time and place for jokes, and I get it. But like also like we don't know though. Like was he being serious or was he not being serious? Like, but that's just douchey.
Well, it's clear that being that was it was a joke at the waitstaff's expense, right? So
Yeah, like-
I mean, not tasteful, but I guess if that's your kind of sense of humor, you'll think it's hilarious. I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
guess
Like I mean,
so.
it's not.
I just
It's a
have-
weird
I
like.
have a
Yeah.
really hard time with like dry sense of humor because it takes me a while to like be like, are you just a dick or are you just being funny? Once like people in my life that have that sense of humor that I know really well, it's like, no, I know
Yeah.
you're just like, but me, like if I didn't know somebody and they did that, I'd be like, holy shit, like what an asshole. Like why was he being so rude? That's what I would think.
No, and well, then I think that's where he runs into some issues sometimes.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
people don't know, and he's not going to say, "Hey, I was just joking." That was, he's supposed to be like,
Or have
"You
like a
should be-"
little laugh
Yeah.
after that.
Another thing that kind of like I got the impression of was that Chevy has no idea how to read the room.
No.
No, as I'm saying,
He's always that guy, no matter what room he's in, right?
he's going to do his Chevy
His bit.
Chase-ness.
Like he'd do that at like a funeral.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
he touched like the corpse and be like still cold or something
Yeah.
stupid, like
Yeah.
which in his head is like amazingly funny.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And so everyone
Because
laughs and
look-
going to hate him, and he's going to do
Yeah.
it regardless of.
Because look, we have to go all the way back to the childhood trauma when he, felt like he wasn't enough or whatever, yada yada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that in those moments, it makes him feel like he's included and he's people want him there because he's funny or whatever, or gives him attention that he didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? Like
No, and he clearly leans into it. Yeah, but it's stuff like that. Like it's
Yeah.
doing jokes on stage and
in a movie.
movies one thing, but in real life,
Yeah,
depending on who you're talking to and what you're joking about, not everyone's going to find it quite as funny.
yeah.
there's a note here about director Marina Zenovich.
Well, and I was going to say we're going to get right into this whole. Speaking of that, is the "you're not that bright" moment, which
Oh,
I don't know if this is the right name of the director, to be honest. I thought it was something totally different.
Oh, sorry,
See this name?
ChatGPT might have did
it says
wrong.
Marina Zenovich, but for some reason I thought it was something different than that. But I don't know.
Well, we have errors and omissions on our research.
Yeah,
It's
but
fine.
it was basically exactly what we were talking about earlier. The very start of this movie, when Trevi sits down at it must be his kitchen table, it looked like, eh?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, we're doing a documentary, but he's like, oh, no shit. And she's like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but we're going to try and figure you out. And he basically says,
He says, you're not smart enough.
yeah, you're not smart enough to do that, or good luck or something. She's like,
Yeah.
why is that? He's like, you're not bright enough.
Yeah. Which
You're not bright enough to figure me
So
out.
here,
And then I thought it was interesting too. You followed that up by saying, but I know you're not going to show this on camera anyways.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was that
or he
weird.
said, I hope not. But
Yeah.
this is my thing is like, again, because he has the humor he has, is he saying like you're not smart enough, meaning not to like diss her, but to diss himself, being like, I am so
Well, that-
emotionally complex and messed up. You're never going to figure it out.
Well, no, and that's exactly
right? So like,
the problem. And the problem with a joke like that, then too, it kind of comes off slightly misogynistic too. It's like,
yeah.
is
Yeah.
it because it's a female? Like, is
Yeah.
it because it's a
Because-
like? There's a lot of things you can read into it that.
He could have
You
played
know.
it self-deprecating, but he didn't, right? He could have said something like, good luck, I'm so messed up, you'll never figure me
Yeah.
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not bright enough.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
it's so it's exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's very, I don't know, not nuanced, but it's really hard to get a good read on him. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Like,
Yeah.
even through the whole
Oh.
documentary, it's like, is this like a work?
Yeah.
Is he
This is an act.
is he just screwing with them the entire time?
that
Like,
just
it's hard
makes
to
me
tell, right?
so
Yeah.
uncomfortable when I can't read. Like it's really funny. And like just a quick little side thing, literally before we hit record, I was like teasing Steve or whatever, and like Steve's obviously a very funny guy or whatever, but he sometimes is one of those people that doesn't show a lot of emotion or like inflection in his voice when he's saying things.
Yeah.
And I was literally just saying how sometimes that makes me like, oh my gosh, you're mad. And he'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm fine. I'm like, but you look like you want to like kill everybody in the room. And so and it's just
Only
different
sometimes.
it's just different personalities, right? Like me, I'm a very expressive, like you can tell what's going on based on my face. Like I'm expressive, I have inflection, I use my hands, everything. So it makes me like uncomfortable and like nervous when I don't get that back, because then I start, oh my gosh, is the person mad? What's going on? What's going on?
You start spiraling.
And some people are totally fine with it, but for me, I'm a very visual person. Like I need that confirmation that person is jiving with me or what I'm saying or whatever, right?
Yeah, you need to know that there's like a mutual understanding of the situation.
Yeah, so it's just interesting. Whereas like some people, they don't need that at all. They think
Yeah.
it's annoying to be like,
No.
that was annoying.
No, which is funny. But it's also funny, which I find kind of ironic, just having this whole conversation sort of to completely change the topic. Like, you hate Jim Carrey because
Yep.
he's so over the top.
Yeah.
Well, no, but
It's so in your-
wait,
There's no, like, Jim
No.
Carrey smacks you in the face with what he's trying to
but
do.
That's what I'm saying
But I
is
don't.
that she's like,
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
like
no.
that,
Hold
but
on,
then-
hold on. I'm gonna
Okay.
rebuttal back. I'm just saying I don't like the characters of the movies that he plays. Him as a person, like interviewing and stuff, I actually think he's a complete opposite. I think
Well,
he's
no.
very like, but the characters, like, I just don't like those types of movies in general, right? So those characters, it's like Caddyshack. I just don't like those types of movies. So those characters are just gonna make me insane.
Oh, okay. I
But,
thought it was
like-
because he was so over the top and
Well, yes,
loud
that's
and
part
not-
of why it's annoying. But I mean, like, let's be real, Steve. There's an in between, okay?
No,
Like,
I was not trying to get into a whole conversation. I'm
know.
just saying I think it's funny that you're talking about how Chevy, too
There's nothing
stoic is like
Look,
not
there's-
good, but then
there's nothing subtle about Jim Carrey coming out of a rhino's butt.
exactly, or talking out
but
his
there
ass.
has
Yeah.
to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. No, I'm just
Like,
saying
that's
though, but
the thing. It's like
Yeah.
the two extremes. They're like, okay, let's take it like this: the Chevy Chase to the like Jim Carrey coming out of a rhino's ass, and there's a scale in between, and we all fall somewhere in that scale.
Okay.
Steve's more like this Chevy Chase way, like not the dickiness, but like the like just sort of more like sarcastic, and like I'm a little closer to the rhino, the head coming out of the rhino, but not quite there.
It's a good way to describe you entering a room, actually.
yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
But so
Anyway.
this is a good point. So it says here, do you guys think that whole opening, do you think they would leave that in if this is a different documentary? Would they leave that moment in or cut it out?
What do you mean a different documentary though?
Well, just if someone else had directed this, do you think leaving that moment in was good, bad?
Yeah, 100%. I think that it definitely good or bad. It definitely painted a picture of his true character.
I think it set the tone for the entire
Yeah.
documentary where you just kind of, because again, if you're watching this, you obviously know who Chevy Chase is. I'm assuming you've
heard.
Yeah.
heard some of the story. I mean, some of the stuff that was big news that we're going to get into. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you kind of knew his reputation.
Yeah.
So just right off the bat, it's like, oh, okay, I see. Like
It made me think the doc was more legitimate and less of a fluff piece.
that was my thing going into it. It's like, I don't know how much is going to be like
but I
a
also
fluff piece, but no, it was definitely, I don't think it held back at all.
I also think that it like I said, good or bad, it also, well, like I said, not fluff piece, but it also just sort of confirmed like who he is. And, you know, you say that shit, whether you were kidding or being sarcastic or dead serious, we don't really know. But you say that shit and then have the nerve to be like, but you won't put this in. Damn straight I'm putting it in, and good for them for putting it in.
No, exactly. And whether he did that as a
we don't know,
joke
right?
or whatever,
like,
who knows? But yeah, no, I mean, you have to leave that stuff in because it speaks volumes to the person that you're...
One 10-second clip literally is all you really have to watch to kind of understand Chevy Chase.
No,
literally.
Just that quick interaction is like, oh, okay. And again, he's just one of those guys, he's going to poke the bear.
Yeah.
He thinks it's funny to do that.
Yeah.
He's going to try and say stuff to rally you up.
And like just the expression on his face, like that 10 seconds is all you need to sum up who I think he is as a person. And I'm not saying that he's a bad person or a good person because we don't know his true intent behind how he said it, but just that is what you're dealing with if you ever meet him.
Yeah, he would definitely be. And I've even heard now because he does a lot of Comic Cons and stuff like that. And I've seen people commenting on this. Like I've seen TikTok videos about this documentary, people reacting to it,
and they're like, he's the same way.
And they've said we've got his autograph signed at like a Comic Con, and like he
was miserable.
Had he didn't even like acknowledge us or whatever.
Yeah.
He was exactly what we thought. Like just not friendly, not.
Why do you want that reputation? Like maybe you just don't care.
Yeah,
but it sounds like he does care. Like it sounds like he wants to be liked.
Yeah.
But like then at least smile. If you just smiled and said those things, it'd be like, oh, look at him.
That's
he's being funny.
It's the delivery. Sometimes it's not so much. He's at least for a lot of the stuff he's saying isn't like really offensive per se, but just the way he says it, you're just kind of like you said, if he had made a joke about, oh, good luck, you're not bright enough because my head is a mess because of my childhood or something.
Yeah.
But then actually,
but just to say you're not bright enough, it's like.
I forgot from watching this documentary, I forgot that he actually kind of had you guys are probably going to like poo-poo on my way I'm saying this, but a little sort of like resurgence when he was older and like his 60s and stuff of being on TV. And his popularity. Yeah,
no, he did, and that's what we're going to talk about now. Is Community was like a sort of a second, which is kind of totally different. He went back to his roots of TV.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Community at all?
I mean, I've seen
a couple of reruns of it. I've seen some clips.
Yeah, I did watch it on not when it was on TV. I watched it on it's on Netflix or whatever.
It's streaming somewhere now.
Somewhere. Yeah. I watched it a few years ago, and I liked it. It was good.
Was he good on the show? Like, was he a good character? I mean, I feel like I feel like he doesn't even play characters. He's just playing himself.
Basically playing himself as and he's also the whole bit is that he's also you find out he's also like super wealthy, but like he's in his 70s on the show, whereas he's going back to community college where
Oh, okay.
The next, I guess, quote unquote oldest guy would be what's his name, Joel McHale.
Yeah.
Who was like maybe in his 30s, whatever.
30s, 40, yeah.
Yeah, so, Chevy Chase is a good 35 years older than everyone else in the cast. So that alone is sort of part of it, where he's this weird old guy that also is rich and eccentric. But, no, it's pretty good. So I'm just going to get into here. So, Keith, it's, oh my God, 2009 it premiered. That was, Jesus, that was a long time ago.
So he would have been in like his 60s. Yeah, he would have been in his 60s.
Yeah, 2009 premieres, 2012 he exits the show mid-season.
And I feel like he probably didn't exit happily in a good way.
No.
Yeah, so it sort of says here, let's get through some most detailed and an uncomfortable section of the film. Director I'm going to screw his name, but Shanders Raskar. I'm totally fucking that up. But I recognize him from Super Troopers and stuff.
Just say Jay.
So he was the director. I think I don't know if he did all. I can't imagine he did all Community episodes, but he definitely did. Clearly, it was a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But so he was on set for a lot of Chase's arguments, and
I remember hearing about this.
Well, the fact that nobody from Community was in this documentary was
pretty telling.
Pretty surprising.
But I remember hearing when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. So basically, what it comes down to is that during one of the episodes, when they were filming it, he
used a racial slur
against one of his castmates.
Like, that's just dick behavior. That's not even dick behavior. That's just an awful human being behavior.
Yeah. I found it a little confusing the way they were shown, like, because they were kind of not, I don't know.
Did they talk about it in the documentary?
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't even remember. Like, it's been
Yeah. But the way they kind of explained it, it was sort of confusing.
What did he say about it? Was he just like,
Well, he kind of was like, I don't even know, he was just kind of not ambivalent to it, but
Like shushed it off, kind of.
yeah,
Yeah, it's less
yeah, it
raw.
was sort of a weird. The whole thing was just sort of weird with him
That's how you
because
know
then he was
you.
going on about how like back in like on SNL he did a bit with Richard Pryor
Yeah.
where he dropped that same.
They basically traded racial slurs back and
Yeah,
forth.
and we're like,
So he
well, I
was
did it
trying to be
then,
like, I
and
did it then,
It
it's
was
okay
okay
now.
then.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was all just comedy. It wasn't like
Yeah.
anything real.
This
and,
is where my problem comes in with people. People are human. They make mistakes. They say things. I mean, he obviously grew up in an era where jokes like that were okay, right? So
'Cause,
it's
yeah,
hard.
that's no sketch is considered a classic.
Right. And it's hard. We all know we grew up with words that are not okay to use now. And we know
Yeah.
it's hard to like change that mindset, right? This is my problem though. Not people making the mistakes. It's people who react like that. Like, no, say you were an asshole, apologize for what you did. Don't shush it off and be like, yeah, but I did it like 30 years ago. It's okay. Or 40 years ago. It's okay. Like, don't do that.
No, and just the fact they said it. I mean, and I think, and rightfully so. Yeah, you do that, and
Yeah, you
You're
should be
done,
canceled.
so, like,
if you
yeah.
have, at the very least, if you have no remorse, yeah, your ass is canceled.
well, just being fired. I mean, like, then clearly they're gonna like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. But even I saw like after this all came out, the new documentary, the actress involved in this even said like, "Don't speak to me, don't talk on my behalf for any of this. Like, I
Fair.
don't want anything like,
To do
Fair.
with this, yeah.
yeah, don't put words in my mouth, don't do anything,
Fair.
don't even."
Yeah,
No,
mention it.
I
No, I
mean-
don't want to acknowledge this at all. So it's like clearly
It was not good.
no. And I've seen Joel McHale. I was watching him. This is probably a couple of years ago on a podcast, but talking about he had nothing really good to say about any
So
of it.
let's just make an assumption, okay? It wasn't just like you slip and say a word you're not supposed to. This was like sounds like based on the non-talking and the avoidance of everybody not wanting to have anything to do with it. Sounds like this was a very deliberate thing that happened.
It does, I know, and then also, and not to, but because at the same time, then too, I'm trying to think. I think they also talking about like this is when, because we didn't really talk much about it, but Chevy has obviously had some serious
Medical issues.
Yeah.
was no substance abuse.
Oh, substance abuse. Okay.
Even that when he was that old?
Yeah, remember that's when he cut back. He fell off the wagon in this time frame
Oh.
and really got into like alcohol and stuff too. So
Again, an explanation, but you still have to take
like,
accountability.
no, exactly. But so he was not coming from a good place, I don't think.
No.
And
I mean, just the vibe of you saying how that girl that it happened to is like, I don't want anything to do with it. How people are like, like you said, nobody from that show was on it. It definitely, this was not like a, oops, I slipped and said something I shouldn't. This sounds like it was like some sort of attack, like a
that,
verbal.
and I think it was not even that. I think it was just, I think he was not pleasant to deal with from like
in
day
general,
one.
and this
And it was just a build up and
yeah.
build up and
Yeah.
build up and build up and build up and just
yeah.
they were just like, you know what?
Now
Well,
here
they said, even the director said he would shoot Chevy's scenes first
Yeah,
to
to
get
get him off
off.
set so that then everyone else could
That's
like.
crazy.
Get on
Well,
with
the
the
fact
day.
that he had to do that kind of stuff is insane.
Like, why
Yeah.
do you want that reputation?
Yeah.
Like, it's insane to me.
Well, it's
Now-
sad. It's really sad because you look at the movies that he's made and the career he's had, where like
I mean,
some of these are like like
Look.
National Crucifixion is
Well,
like
of
It's
course.
a classic.
a classic,
Now,
but
look,
then it's
I-
like a lot of people are like, do you ever want to watch this again?
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, look, like I don't work in Hollywood. I get it, but I'm just saying, like at this point, it's like, why do people still hire him? Like, why would you
Well, I
hire
think
somebody
that-
with this
I'm
reputation?
pretty sure. I think that problem's.
Yeah.
I think after
I
this,
know,
it's like
but I'm
After
just
Community
saying.
isn't it anything.
yeah.
But so, like, okay, but here's a question, just out of general curiosity, and you probably don't know the exact answer, but like, if he left in 2012, like, how long did Community last after that? Like, was it still successful without him?
Oh yeah. He was not the star of that show by
Okay.
any means. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I'm glad,
He was
I'm
like it was like an ensemble cast. So I couldn't tell you how it went on for a few more seasons, I think.
Well, good.
But no, they didn't. Like it was still doing well without him by
Yeah,
far.
exactly.
Like it wasn't like the
It,
show
it didn't crush the show.
So it
Yeah.
sounds like here on the notes, it was a late night meltdown, and Chase says now, like, my career is ruined. Well, yeah, it was ruined. You only
Yeah.
get so many chances.
No, I think
before
he
you...
actually said that because it was weird. They kind of had some audio from it a bit, like in the documentary.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, of him having like a meltdown there at the end, and then because remember there was that scene where they showed him going to it was it the season wrap party or whatever with his kids and his wife.
Yeah.
And
I should have rewatched this. I don't remember any of
Yeah, yeah.
this. No, like literally, I don't remember any of this part.
Okay. But remember they walked in and they all started chanting like F Chevy or something like that,
Oh,
or
yeah.
F you
I mean-
Chevy
Yeah,
or
and
something.
Chevy
Like
was upset
Oh,
because
yeah.
like I have my wife and my daughters
here,
here. Like,
Well, kind of tough shit.
Well, it's one of those. I mean, it's so hard because is that cool? This was before all the
the scene
the
happened where it
racial
blew up. Yeah.
stuff. you reap what you sow.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
And that's the thing. Was it cool that your wife and kids are there and they're doing this stuff? No. You know, is
But
it the
maybe it
most
should be
professional
like a-
thing? But if you're being a prick,
You can only be
Yeah.
a prick for so long before people are going to start calling you out on the behavior.
no, and that's the thing is,
Yeah.
again,
Maybe a little bit of a wake up call.
Well, and that's what I'm
I
saying. You
just
reap
don't
what
even
you
think
sow.
he cared.
Well,
Yeah.
clearly he did because he talked about how upset he was about it. So
Yeah.
it's like,
No.
but you can't
No.
be a fucking idiot 99% of the time, and then the one time someone is a dick to you, you're
Well,
like, what
the hell?
No.
I can't believe they would do that to me.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so
So-
it's just like it's really hard, and
Like-
that this whole documentary really,
Yeah.
it was hard,
it's hard
to
to
sympathize.
sympathize with them.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Because-
watching some of his videos now, it's like, oh,
Yeah, I know. That's the one thing I noticed this whole documentary. He never really takes accountability
No,
for anything.
and that's my point
No.
that I was talking about at the beginning. There's a lot of explanations for the reasons why he's psychologically who he is, narcissistic, all that
Yeah.
stuff. But at some point in time, you have to be able to say, like, you know, I don't want to be this person. Like, you can't just keep well, I had a shitty childhood. No, you got to take accountability and
Yeah.
stop and do things to not be that person.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna have to face the consequences of being called out in front of your family. That F you. Like, you know what I mean?
no, and that's the thing. It's like because the whole Clinton during the community sort of season eras, he was sort of talking about that he was definitely some of sort of that generational clash where he was like the older statesman
Yeah.
and sort of felt completely out of place. And
Well, tough
so
shit.
was it like a defense mechanism of him
Well, I'm but
being a dick to be
again-
like, oh, I'm still relevant. Like, who knows? But I do like this little note here. It's like,
Well, I just wanted to really quickly. Can I just? Well, we're still talking about community, and then I just wanted.
yeah. Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is that basically it's sort of, and this is with community, it's sort of where the nostalgia of Chevy Chase ended and the accountability kind of became the thing where it's like, okay, he's not the sweet guy from,
No.
National Lampoon's Vacation. So that's like, no, this guy is.
Well, I think the accountability is more just like times have changed from 1976 when people first heard of him back in 1976. And I'm just using examples like you could do a lot of things and you were like, oh, wow, that's just so crazy. Like it wasn't a big thing. Whereas, in 2009, like we're starting to be like behaviors like this isn't okay to be portraying.
Well, that's exactly what I was just exactly saying that. Yeah. Is that it was no more nostalgia. Now it's accountability. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not like, oh, it's just Chevy being Chevy. It's like, no, you're
You're
You're treating
racist
people
or
like
being
shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
But just some of the quotes here of the community, Jay, the director, because I don't want to butcher his last name. So Jay said it was the night he crossed the line no one could walk back from. And Chevy said, I said things I shouldn't have said. I was angry. I felt trapped. I mean, I guess he's somewhat taking accountability. But again,
Well,
no.
just again, it's just the whole.
Too
It's
late.
just not even that. It's just like it's hard to like. Do you actually mean any of this stuff? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you just can never really tell. Sometimes it's like, does he care about any of this?
Well, I don't think so because I think at the core of it, he is just a narcissist, and narcissists never, take accountability or think that it's everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who knows if he's, but I'm just saying he has very narcissistic behaviors, and based on his childhood, it would explain why he's a narcissist.
No,
But-
and that's in the quote here we got from his daughter. He's not the man people think he is, but he's also not innocent.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like his whole family's in this too. Like, so it's not
Yeah.
just Chevy.
And they're not like he was the best ever and everybody's so mean like this. They're
no,
like,
they do. In some points, like again, some of them they're like, hey, I don't think he got treated as well as whatever, but they're not. They
No.
say like he had again not to
Massive
he
depressive
had
issues.
depressive issues because they talk about that. They showed him when he's sort of after. Was that after Community that he had that sort of depression? I can't remember where that was. It was
the one clip I remember, it was like the mid '90s.
it was in the 90s, but
It
maybe it was after a
was-
couple of flop movies. I
He
forget
had,
now.
he had a bunch of bombs in the mid '90s.
Yeah.
And the one daughter said she took
Oh,
up piano.
you know what it was? It was after the cancellation of his talk show.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
it.
And they said he spent a lot of time in his room.
Yeah, he
and the one
kinda,
daughter
like-
could have picked up playing piano, and she noticed when she'd play piano, he'd come down from the room and join her.
Yeah, 'cause
so
he was-
that encouraged her to play more because he'd come down out of his room more.
Yeah, because he was like a piano sort of. I don't want to say virtuoso,
Oh, yeah,
but
he was
like
playing
a
piano
self-taught,
in
but
it.
like
Self-taught,
self-taught,
really good.
like
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind
Couldn't
of.
read music at all.
He's kind of one of those guys. I think he's a pretty smart dude.
Yeah,
Which sometimes is also
that's the problem.
Yeah,
sometimes you
exactly.
get that. Yeah,
but I guess the point is like his daughter's clearly knew he had depressive issues, and
well, and then he was living with his daughter and
Mental
was
health
doing
issues.
Community, and that's where she was kind of because she was sort of she wanted to be an actress, so
yeah,
when he was doing Community, she stayed with her. She stayed with him in L.A.
yeah,
and was trying to become an actress while he was doing Community, and she was kind of like, hey, he's getting like
yeah,
telling her mom like, I think Dad's getting into the wine too much, and
yeah.
sort of his alcoholism was becoming a
Rearing
problem
out
because he'd
its
already
own
gone to
head.
Betty Ford earlier for cocaine, I think it was.
Yeah.
But so
Well-
they knew that he was, he's a human like everyone else, so he's not
This is the
Not infallible.
perfect. Yeah.
This is the part of the story where I'm like, I feel like if this happens to most people, when you come out the other side, you kind of have a new sort of like look at things, and maybe you're more reflective, and maybe you take accountability for some of the things that you may have done not so great in the past. But I feel like he really didn't.
His
So,
perspective never seems to change.
but Steve, you have written down here about he had the big health crisis. So, like I said, you feel like after living and surviving through what he did, he would kind of pull back and be like, "Ooh, wow."
You'd think so, yeah.
But it didn't
2001
seem to
yeah.
really happen.
Yeah, because he had a massive in 2021. He was placed in a medically induced coma for 8 days.
He had heart failure.
Heart failure, yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And you can definitely, like I said, watching the documentary, you can definitely tell he's getting older and he's a little more frail.
Well, it
and
says he has memory loss and confusion.
yeah, a few times he referred to his memory and stuff like that, and I wasn't sure if it's
Because
like
he didn't believe the story from SNL where he went after the first openly gay cast member.
that's
But
right.
this is my question, and we will never know. And it's also just a question because based on the type of person he is that a convenient excuse?
No,
now?
and that's exactly what I was saying is that it's sort of because the whole we don't really cover, but when he went back to host SNL in the 80s, when he was sort of after Caddyshack and stuff like that, he went back to host an episode. Like Eric said, there was Terry Sweeney, I think it was.
Yeah.
He was the first openly gay cast member, and Chevy made some wildly homophobic comment, not on show, but like behind the scenes or
Yeah.
whatever in the writers' room or whatever, and said some really offensive things to this poor guy.
Yeah.
And then when they called him out about it now, he was kind of like, I didn't say that, did
Hold
I
on
say
a
that?
second,
It was
though.
like-
Yeah.
You're right. But to me, it was how he reacted to them asking him about that. It wasn't just like he said, "Oh, wow, what? Oh, my, wow, holy crap, I don't remember that."
Yeah,
He got angry.
He acted,
Yeah.
he acted shocked and basically said like that Terry Sweeney was lying.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
got angry. So to me,
Yeah, it was
I
just,
think that that you did that. Because again, if you literally had no memory, you'd be like, "Oh my, what?"
yeah, no,
Holy
it
crap.
was a very strange
It's
reaction.
a very
yeah.
defensive reaction.
And there's this didn't happen in like a vacuum with just the two of them. Like there was
Yeah.
like a lot. Because I remember you had that book. I remember reading it years
Live
ago.
from New York. It's a really good book, actually.
Yeah, it's sort of the first like 25 years or some of the history of it, or 30 years or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But it's like an oral history of SNL, and
Yeah.
they talk about that.
Exactly. It's all like firsthand recollections from different cast members.
Yeah, so like this is something that's sort of well documented that it did in fact happen.
But here's a question though that one of the questions on our notes is like the danger of judging past behavior through present decline. So are we just judging his current state and not believing he has a cognitive decline because of who he is? Or are we you know what I mean? Like because there's no doubt you go into a medically induced coma for 8 days and have severe heart failure. You're going to have some like cognitive when you wake up being that older too.
yeah, which is fine. If he doesn't remember, it's fine. It doesn't mean he didn't do it. So it's a
Oh, no,
it's
no,
I think
no,
it's
no,
a
no.
non-issue, to be honest. I don't.
Well, no, but I
Like-
think it's more like, yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I think
I wasn't specifically talking
I'm just saying,
about
but
that.
It happened in 2021. Is like his health issues are way past any of these.
Yeah.
His issues of saying things offensively or racist or whatever. So I mean, maybe he remembers or not.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's also a good excuse, but I mean, it's
Yeah, but
I'm not sure what you're-
I lost my train. I just lost what my
Okay.
point was, but it wasn't specifically about that situation. It was just an overall general thing. Like, whether he did it or he did it. But the question is like, does he actually not remember it? And is he very like, holy, or is it just convenient excuse to sometimes have a
I
Like-
think it's probably a bit of both, to be honest.
I just said for me, his reaction to that was not like a what I did. Oh my God, there's no way I did that.
Well, again,
What?
accountability.
But
right?
I don't think, just based on this documentary, I don't think he would ever react to that to anything.
I don't think he
said.
would either. But that
Like-
kind of goes to the whole of the personality
That's
and like
it, yeah.
it's the connecting the dots, right? Like he reacted. It's like even if he has cognitive decline now and he's suffered from aging and stuff like that, his reaction was still the same type of reaction he would have had pre-medical issues, right? So I guess just to sum up what I was saying before, it doesn't really matter whether he quote unquote remembers or doesn't remember. in a lot of these senses, like you said, it's not stuff that's been done in private. It's been in public places. And just because he doesn't remember doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Didn't happen.
No, that's just whatever. Whether he remembers it or not, who gives a shit?
But even
Yeah.
still,
Like, really?
like,
It happens,
it's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
for me, it's the, and look, we're all guilty to a degree, but for me, it's the immense lack of accountability. Because even if you don't remember and you said, holy shit, like people are saying that, oh my God,
Yeah.
like I can't believe
But
I
I'm
did
saying,
that.
just watch this documentary. It's pretty clear he's not too concerned about what anyone thinks
Because
about him.
that's what narcissists, you're never going to
Yeah,
convince them.
no,
that.
100%, yeah. So one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is one last thing is that because we were just talking about it this year, 2025, or no, it's 2026 now, but last year was the 50th anniversary of SNL, so they had a massive reunion.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
was there.
It was huge. Like, it was one of the biggest things probably on TV last year.
Yeah.
And Chevy Chase was there. His big bone of contention was he was not involved in any of the skits or whatever. He was on stage at the very
he
end
was a
waving goodbye,
guest.
and that's it. And he was super.
Because I guess there's talks about him actually having an on-air segment or at least an appearance early on, but then it got cut.
But
Yeah.
doesn't that just say so much about his reputation? They just probably didn't want to deal with him.
With that,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Like
you gotta,
literally.
And Lord Michaels had an easy excuse. He was like, there's been so much talent over the last 50 years
with
that we just couldn't fit everybody in.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I think is partly true and whatever. But I
Yeah.
think
They
it's
just don't want to deal with the drama.
I think, you know what, again, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hey, he helped start the show and this and that, and he's still remembered for it. But
But you had 50 years to not.
we've got 49 years of other talent that's been through this stage that,
That may not get us canceled either.
Yeah, and
Was-
that treated people decently.
well, and that exactly. And you know what, again, you reap what you sow. So that's, I keep saying it. It's,
Absolutely.
you know
Yeah.
what, you put it out there enough, whether you're joking or whatever. And, you know, yes, you had a bad childhood and you had issues of substance abuse and stuff like that. But
Okay.
sometimes you need to just take accountability and there is consequences for your
So
actions.
let's circle all the way back to the beginning when I asked you guys the question if your opinion before versus after watching it of Chevy Chase had changed, and you both said no, and I said no as well. Does I think Steve had kind of mentioned it a little bit before, but like does after watching the documentary and sort of having more of these like, you know, incidences with other people talking about them or whatever the case may be, like does it actually make you feel kind of like about even watching any of his stuff anymore?
Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah.
That sucks.
Sadly, yeah.
But like it just kind of like, okay, it's like, well, oh, I just spit, sorry. It's probably one of those things where it's like, you know, yeah, I kind of knew he was probably a dick, but then you hear it and you're just like, ooh, wow, I
Yeah.
don't like that.
No, it does. It definitely, yeah, it sort of taints
Taints
it.
things,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
What about you, Eric?
I don't know. It's the whole question of like, can you separate like the person from like the art or their work, right?
Yeah, but according to everybody and him, like he pretty much just plays himself.
No, I know that's what makes it like harder. It's just like, oh man, I don't want it to like taint some of his movies that I really like, but then it kind of it does in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. I'm probably going to still watch Christmas Vacation every year. I mean, he just whatever. Like him aside, like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not really one to talk on this because I never really was like a huge Chevy Chase fan anyways, other than the Christmas Vacation. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it sucks. I mean, I did, you know, I liked the time. National Lampoon's European Vacation is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie. But yeah, watching now, I haven't watched it forever, but I don't know. Yeah, it sucks. And but I mean, good or bad, you know, that's the way these people are. And, you know, sometimes it's good to see this stuff. Like, it shouldn't just be hidden and
what do
left in
they
the.
what do they always say? Don't ever meet your heroes.
No, and
Yeah,
it's true.
absolutely.
And that's, you know what, and that's especially now with the dawn of social media and stuff like that, where you're seeing a lot of, you know, you're seeing how the sausage is made, and sometimes it's better
Yeah.
not to know that. So,
You don't want the sausage no more.
exactly. So, one last question. I'm going to take it back the reins from Kelly.
Sorry, I just was okay anyway.
All right. One last question. Eric,
Yes.
stream it or skip it? Chevy Chase.
100% stream it. I
Yes.
thought this was a fantastic documentary. Even if you're not a huge Chevy Chase like fan or know about his films, just him as a character, as a person, as a personality, very interesting watch. I'd recommend this.
Absolutely. Kelly, stream it or skip it?
I think you should stream it just simply for the fact that it brings kind of like more light to the type of not so great person he is, good or bad, everything in between. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, stream it. Like I said, I'm not a Chevy Chase fan. I never was, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I would absolutely say to these guys, stream it. Chevy Chase, I mean, like, love him or hate him, and a lot of people hate him. I totally get it. He has been a cultural
Yeah.
comedy icon, really, from 1975 up until, you know, the 2010s.
Yeah.
You really can't take that away from him. So I think it's a good, you know, see behind the scenes. It's interesting, and it's, yeah. It's good. They did a good job with it. You kind of hear good, bad, ugly, everything. I think they did a good job of not sugarcoating anything, but not, just a good unbiased look from all sort of angles.
I think, ironically, what made it so good was the fact that I think there was lots of parts there that Chevy didn't actually think would be in the documentary. So it was like, you literally, like that whole scene where he's like, oh, you're not smart. Like, I literally think that that's him. Like that, like I said, that 10-second clip, watch that. And that's Chevy Chase, because he really, I don't think, thought that was going to be in the documentary.
Probably
so
not.
it's like, they got lucky with having those clips, because like I said, that one clip, it's like, oof. And take what you want. You can interpret it to him just being funny and sarcastic, or you can interpret him to be just being egotistical and kind of like whatever, right? Like it's all up to interpretation.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let us know, guys. If you've seen it, watch it. Let us know. It's definitely worth checking out. Like I said, it's on CNN right now. So go check it out. Let us know what you thought. But I think we're going to wrap it up for the day, because we've been going on and on and on.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's been a good one.
That's it for today's podcast. We thank you so very much for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.
Take care,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye, guys.